Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to talk about a big batch of reveals for Prismatic Evolutions. There's been a bunch of new cards that have gone and been revealed, and frankly, I am very excited about these. And I want to start off with a card I actually pulled in Japanese. It's Ceruledge EX, the special illustration rare thereof. And here's the thing. This card is special and relevant for a number of reasons. Firstly, this card never got any fancy versions. I'm sure you all remember this card came around recently in Surging Sparks, the most recent set. And there's no full art version of this. There's no special illustration rare version, no gold version, no nothing. And the reason this didn't have any fancy versions whatsoever was because this actually came around in its own deck over in Japan, which means there doesn't exist, or at least until Prismatic Evolutions, there didn't exist a different version of this. It's just not a thing. When cards come around in decks in Japan, with some rare exceptions, admittedly, I'm looking at you, Gengar and Inteleon, but generally speaking, they have the regular versions and nothing else. So Ceruledge was a card where there just was no special fancy version of it. So Pokemon have looked up and gone, you know what? Let's fix that now. Let's give a special illustration rare version of Ceruledge. And Akagi here has done a phenomenal job. And seriously, the artwork here is among the very, very best in the set. And this is a set where artwork-wise, they are showing off a bit. And I don't say that as a negative. I say that as a wonderful, wonderful thing. But it's also worth pointing out, Ceruledge is good. Like, Ceruledge is a lot better than people are giving it credit for. Because right now, all we can see is the Surging Sparks metagame, where it's just not particularly good. Over in Japan, the metagame share of Ceruledge is honestly fluctuating pretty wildly right now. It's going up and down as the days and the weeks go by with all of the medium-sized tournaments in Japan right now, but it is legit. It is a legit deck which is seeing, it depends how you look at it, but up to like 8 to 10% of the metagame, depending on what week you're looking at. It is a genuinely good deck. It's the one whereby for a single energy, you do 30 damage plus 20 more for each energy in your discard pile. So can take a turn or two to ramp up, but when it does ramp up, you're hitting redonkulous damage, and it's a card that only gets stronger as the game goes along. And it's not a stage 2 you need to go and evolve up into. It's a stage 1, but not a stage 2. And it gets around some of the awkwardness some other decks have. Ceruledge is like properly legit right now, and we get a fancy, amazing special illustration rare version of it. But the next card I want to have a look at here is actually Shaymin. Now, this is going to be the least quote-unquote special card I show you in this video. All the rest of the cards I'm going to show you, like Ceruledge, are special illustration rares. But this Shaymin is maybe the most important card that I'm going to show you from these decks today. And the reason is, it's another one of those cards that came from the Generations decks. I showed you the other day that one of the EXs from those decks has gone and been confirmed for Prismatic Evolutions. It was Tyranitar EX, if anybody's forgotten. And that was important because it showed us, it opened the door to saying these Generations decks over in Japan, remember that is where we've got, well, there were 9 different decks, one for each generation, each of which had 2 brand new mechanically unique Pokemon EXs. And that opened up the door. Because before that, we didn't know if anything from Generations would be in Prismatic Evolutions, and now it turns out it is. Well, now we got another card. And remember the deal, we cannot have all the cards from the Generations decks in here. It doesn't work. It's literally not possible. We know there's only 10 EXs in the set and there's 18 in Generation decks, so we know for a fact that's not happening, just to be clear. But that doesn't mean we're not getting some of the cards, and that's what's gone and been further confirmed today. Over in the Gen 4 deck, which gave us Lugia and Dialga, we got this Shaymin, and now we're getting it in here. Of course, it's important to note Dialga has already been confirmed to be a tin promo in the Azir Legends tins. Well, we still don't know what's going on with the Lucario. Maybe we get it in here, maybe it's somewhere else, I don't know. But it means that it's now more likely that we're going to be getting more of these cards from Generations. We're not getting all of them. Cannot stress that enough. We're not getting all of them. We cannot have all of them. That is definitely not happening. But there are some cards in there. Like, could we be getting all the new Professor's Research? I don't know, is the genuine honest answer here. There's a chance though, surely. That would be nice. Because we've got a Generations deck exclusive. Each of the 9 professors are getting Professor's Research. And then we've got the same thing going on with all of the Black Belt. Different Black Belt for every generation. Are we getting all of them? I don't know. Kind of hope we do, though. That would be awesome. As for the Shaymin itself, don't get terribly excited. 2 energy, 60 damage, and you're moving energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench. Love, love, love the Amelakart artwork. Amelakart is one of my favourite Pokemon TCG artists. But card-wise, look, Shaymin's not good, alright? But it's interesting because it tells us we can have more Generations deck cards. We're also getting a Shinji Kanda Roaring Moon, and this is, I mean, it's great. A lot of people are going to love this. Firstly, it's Roaring Moon EX. Roaring Moon EX was in the final of the World Championships this past year. It can one-hit KO anything with Frenzied Gouging, or do 220 with Calamity Storm. It's brilliant. But also, it's Shinji Kanda artwork, and this is an artist you're going to recognize because the Magikarp, the single biggest, most expensive illustration rare that we've had in the Scarlet and Violet era, that's Shinji Kanda. The Giratina from Lost Origin, one of the very biggest cards in the Sword and Shield era, that's Shinji Kanda. Honestly, I know a lot of people love this artist and their work. It's expensive if you want to be a Shinji Kanda collector. But now we got another one. And this one, judging by what we see in Japan, etc., probably is not going to be a ridiculous card, but it is beautiful and a lot of people are going to love it. Do remember, of course, we did have a special illustration rare of Roaring Moon in Paradox Rift when these Paradox Pokemon first came around. I actually love the Roaring Moon that we got in Paradox Rift. I prefer that one to the new one. I know not everyone agrees with me. That's absolutely fine. But I love that Roaring Moon. That Roaring Moon makes me happy. Love the card as well. Always love building around that. The last Pokemon I've got to show you, don't worry, there's one more card with which to finish, is Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. And of course, I did my Pokemon TCG awards there, well, Christmas Day. I always do them on Christmas Day now. It's become a bit of a tradition. I've been doing it for years. And the thing is, Teal Mask Ogerpon, I gave it my card of the year. And I meant it, incidentally. It is that good of a card. It is central to the Regidrago deck, which has been phenomenal for a long time. It is central to the Raging Bolt deck, which again is a very, very good deck. It's got an ability whereby once during your turn, you can attach an energy to it and draw a card, in addition to your energy attachment for the turn, of course. It's a great card. You know, Regidrago uses it with Energy Switch. Raging Bolt doesn't really need the Energy Switch, to be honest with you. Although you can use it very nicely, but it doesn't need it like Regidrago does. But the point is, great card, and now we've got a lovely special illustration rare. Of course, we did get a special illustration rare of this back in Twilight Masquerade as well. And this is very much a personal preference thing. I think they're both fine. We got a full set of these, the Ogerpon I mean, in Twilight Masquerade. That's happening again, we assume, in Prismatic Evolutions. Be weird if it didn't, frankly. So, great card, lovely artwork. People are going to love it. That is the last Pokemon I've got to show you. But we have also gone and been shown Kieran, which, not a Pokemon. It's a supporter card, but it is a stunning card. This is one that I am incredibly fond of. I adore this card. And it's another one of those card-wise, it's seen a bit of play and a bit of love. It's not a staple in every deck, but it is a pretty cool card. Also, we did get a special illustration rare of this one, also incidentally, back in Twilight Masquerade. And I like the Kieran from before, and I did actually open this from an Elite Trainer box I opened early, I believe. Well, it was in a hotel room. I believe it was in a hotel room in Stockholm. But yeah, I was at an event casting, and before I started casting one day, I opened a Twilight Masquerade Elite Trainer box early and pulled Kieran. It was great. And I love the festival feel of the one from Twilight Masquerade, but I got to be honest with you, I think this new one is better. There's something about the artwork here and walking away with those characters from the DLC where I'm just like, you know what? This actually, it kind of feels like it could almost be the last shot of the DLC. And if you played through the DLC, this should make you happy. As for the card, it either lets you do an extra 30 more to EXs and Vs, or it lets you switch. And it's one of those cards where you never actually want to use it as a switch, because switch is an item card. Using a supporter card to switch is kind of terrible. But it's also one of those where if you just don't have a way to switch and you desperately need to switch, you will be delighted that you can use Kieran as a switch. It's something you never want to do, but if you end up stuck, literally and figuratively, it's actually really nice to have that option. So there we go. Bunch of new reveals from Prismatic Evolutions that are frankly pretty big. The Shaymin is very important for giving us clues as to what else is in the set. And then, of course, the rest of them are just stunning. From here, Ceruledge is my favourite, and I pulled that one in Japanese, and that makes me very happy. But I want to hear from you guys. Which of these cards do you like? How hyped are you for Prismatic Evolutions? Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Get us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Andrew Kincaid, who is a very lovely person who's been supporting us for a while now and seems to be awesome. No, don't seem to be. They are awesome. I've met them. They're great. So shout out to Andrew for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.